Hi everyone, Janie here. Welcome back to my garden. So my planting project for today is to finally address my window boxes. You can see this one is just sitting here blank. This poor thing needs some plants in it. So I have this one right here. This one is by my front door. It is an east facing window box, and it also has this like portico overhang over it. So it's pretty shady. In contrast to this one, I have another one on the other side of my house. I will show it to you guys in a little bit. That is west facing. That gets quite a bit more sun than this window box, and it actually gets afternoon sun. And so afternoon sun is so much hotter. It's so much more intense. The plants are going to react differently to that type of sun versus the little bit of sun that this window box does get. So when I first started gardening, one of the most confusing things for me was understanding the exposure needs of plants. When I would go to the garden center and I would buy a plant and it would say part shade or it would say part sun, I would just get so confused because I wasn't totally sure what the plant supplier was trying to tell me. Where should I put this plant? You know, I had trouble understanding it. And I think the reason why I had trouble understanding it was because there's a lot of variability with the definitions of the exposure needs of plants, right? And I think it depends on the different companies that you're buying plants from. There's no official across the board plant exposure need chart. However, there is one that the Horticulture Society of America, or I'm probably saying that wrong, but basically the Science of Horticulture did establish an exposure needs chart. What am I trying to say? Basically, they establish and they teach all their horticulture students the exact amount of time and definitions for exposure needs. So I wanted to share that with you guys today. Yes, I learned this in my Master Gardener's class, but I thought it was really, really interesting because it finally gave me a definition of exposure needs. So it's what I was looking for when I first started gardening. So I'm going to read it here. I'll put it up on the screen as well. So the horticulture definition of exposure needs is full sun. That's an easy one. It's 8+ hours of sun. Doesn't matter what kind of sun, you just need at least 8 hours. Then we have part sun, and that's 4 to 6 hours of any type of sun. So that can be afternoon sun or morning sun. You just need 4 to 6 hours. Now we get a little bit more defined, and that would be part shade. Part shade is 2 to 4 hours of sun, but it has to be morning sun only. So if you look at, this window box right here, it's in sun right now. It's kind of overcast today, but it's morning. And so this is east facing, and the morning sun is coming up right behind you guys, right behind the camera. And there's a difference between the morning sun versus the afternoon sun. The morning sun is a lot gentler. The plants can handle it a little bit better. So when you get a plant and you see that it says part shade, what that plant tag is trying to tell you is that, okay, you can put it in a little bit of sun, but it has to be morning sun because this plant cannot handle the hot afternoon sun. Then you go down another step. We're down to full shade. Full shade actually is, you can get up to 2 hours of sun with full shade. So it's anything less than 2 hours of morning sun. So again, that gentle morning sun. And then we have indirect, which is indoor near a window. So knowing this and knowing that I have this window box right here, which is what I would call a part shade window box, right here. And then coming around to the other side of the house. All right, I'm over on my side yard, and right over here, this is my kitchen window. Right here, I have a window box. This is west facing. So this gets afternoon sun, and it does get, I would say like 6 hours, maybe 6+ hours of sun. So I would call this window box part sun to full sun. And so that is what I'm going to do today. I am planting up this window box with a lot of really great proven winners annuals. These are going to be basically part sun to full sun. And then the ones over by my front door, those are going to be part shade plants. So let me show you guys what I have going on. This is my part sun to full sun window box, west facing. There's my kitchen window. So I have a couple different plants, and what I'm going for is that purple and lime green look. I love this color combination. I think it is so pretty, and it starts off with the Sweet Caroline light green. So this is an Ipomoea. This is a sweet potato vine. You can see it says full to part sun, 6 to 16 inches tall, up to 2 feet wide. I do have to say, I think sweet potato vine is a great addition to combination planters. I think it's really great, but it might take over. It does. It is pretty vigorous. And if you want to kind of just leave your window box or your container alone and not really think about it too much, I would choose something a little less vigorous than this guy. But I love the look of it. I love the leaf color. And I think that if you are willing to stay on top of it, you can go through and you can prune it back, cut it back routinely. So every week I come and I trim back my espalier here, my honeysuckle espalier. Look, I'm starting to get blooms, very exciting. And then I have my ivy espalier on the other side of my house. And every Saturday I come through just really quickly. It takes me about 5 minutes and I prune. So I thought I could just come down here, prune here, and then come over here and make sure that these are staying in check. They're not gonna be taking over the other plants. So I plant this, but I caution you guys, but I also don't want you to be afraid of using Ipomoea or sweet potato vine in your combination planters, because I do really think it's absolutely beautiful. All right, then the next one, Supertunia Bordeaux. Oh, I love this one. So it's like plummy pink flowers with deep purple veins. It gets 4 to 12 inches tall, up to 2 feet wide. We all know Supertunia Bordeaux. I love it so much. Let's see if I can find one that's blooming really well. They're all just, they've been sitting in my greenhouse, so they're not super duper happy right now. But you can see it's just the prettiest plant. It is just absolutely so gorgeous. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those in this window box. I forget how wide this window box is. I want to say it's 70 inches wide. I basically just fit it with this window right here. Then the last one that I put in my part sun to full sun window box is a really interesting one. It's called Angel Face Cascade Blue. Can you guys see that right there? Isn't that pretty? So this is a full sun plant. It has blue purple blooms, and this is a really interesting one because it actually has a cascading habit. Normally Angelonia is like a little bit more upright, but this one will actually trail downwards. I'll show you guys a picture of a monoculture pot that I found online on the Proven Winners website, and I just thought it was so interesting. I thought it would be really pretty with the Supertunia Bordeaux, and then you can have the sweet potato vine accenting off of it. I just thought it would be really, really pretty. And then this one is supposed to have grape soda fragranced blooms, which I thought was pretty cool. 8 to 14 inches tall, up to 2 feet wide as well. So I do think this window box is going to be pretty full, you know, as the season goes on. I will keep you guys updated, but just so you know, I am planning on pruning this sweet potato vine for sure. Okay, let me show you the ones that I'm planning to plant in my part shade window box. Okay, back over here. I feel like I'm just gonna be running back and forth the whole time. Okay, so you can see it's starting to get some sun, right? And as the summer as the season kind of goes on, the sun's gonna get a little bit higher in the sky, and this window box is going to get even a little bit more sun. So it's still technically part shade, 2 to 4 hours morning sun, but it kind of varies a little bit. All right, so here is what I'm going to be planting in that window box. First off, I'm obsessed with this. I've actually never planted this plant before. This is called Hippo Rose, otherwise known as polka dot plant. It is a part shade to shade plant. I actually have always seen this plant as a house plant. And then it really hasn't been till Proven Winners that I realized that you could plant this plant outside, which I think is really, really neat. I'm excited to get it planted up in that garden bed, and I'm excited to see how it does. So this one gets about about 16 to 22 inches tall, 8 to 14 inches wide. It is extremely heat tolerant, which is so cool. It is a foliage plant, so it's not gonna bloom. It's just this pink foliage. It's so pretty, deep pink and green, almost like polka dots. It's more like, I describe it as like splotchy kind of, but it's just absolutely gorgeous. Then we have a new one for 2023. I've already planted this one up a couple places. This is the Color Blaze Mini Me Watermelon. And this is the smallest of the Color Blaze coleus plants that they have. You know, they have some that get up to like 3 feet tall. This one only gets up to 20 inches tall at the most. And you can see it's one of those sun to shade ones. So it's going to be able to handle the sun, and it's totally going to be able to handle the shade. So both of these, both this one, the Color Blaze Mini Me Watermelon, and the polka dot plant, these are adaptable as houseplants. Like I said, I've always seen this one as a houseplant. But at the end of the season, both of these, you can actually take them inside and have them inside like for the winter and enjoy them inside for the winter. So really good bang for your buck if you wanted to do that. Then finally, look at this sea of blooms. This is called Diamond Snow. It's a euphorbia. You guys have probably seen this one before, but you might have seen Diamond Frost. It's kind of the same thing, except for there's more blooms to it. There's Diamond Frost euphorbia, Diamond Snow euphorbia, and then also Diamond Mountain euphorbia. It's 18 inches tall and wide. Diamond Mountain's obviously the biggest, and this one has the most dense flowers, which, I mean, look at this. Look at this. Isn't that incredible? And I really think that it's really pretty together. I did find a recipe on the Proven Winners website that had these two together and then did have some light pink caladiums. And I was definitely tempted by that recipe, but then I thought I wanted to try this. I thought that would be really pretty, like a really pretty mixture. And I just wanted to see how this one would do in more of a shade area. So yeah, so this is my part shade to full shade window box combination, and then the chartreuse green and purple with the Bordeaux and the Angel Face Cascade Blue Angelonia. Those are going to go into my part sun to full sun window box. All right, let's get planting. And I am all done. The one thing I forgot to tell you guys, I am planting the Diamond Snow over here in my part shade window box. I am pushing it with the exposure needs for that plant. That plant is a part to full sun plant. But I did speak to someone, I had a conversation with someone who actually works for Proven Winners. She lives in Southern California, and she said she thought this plant would do really well here because it does get a couple hours of morning sun, and that plant, the Diamond Snow Euphorbia, is just such an unfussy, easy plant. So let me give you guys a closer look of these window boxes. I do have to say, I love my window boxes. I love the white of them. I think that they're so pretty. They match with my trim. I can't get them clean. I like wipe off the soil and then more soil comes back on it. And I wipe off the soil and more soil comes back on it. It doesn't bother me throughout the year once the plants start growing because they cover the lip of the window box. But when I just plant things up and I'm trying to show them off, I feel like I cannot get them clean. So I've decided to just give up. So just pretend like you don't notice the dirt that is on the window boxes. All right, so here is my part shade window box. This is the one right by my front door. So this has the Hippo Rose, the Color Blaze Mini Me Watermelon Coleus or Plectranthus, and then it does have the Diamond Snow, which I think is so very pretty. It is a hard day today to see the amount of sun it gets because it is super overcast today. That I didn't expect that, but it's actually really, really nice. So I do think if you're going to do a container or a window box or even a garden bed that does tend to have more shade, usually you can lean heavily on foliage plants that the foliage brings the color, like this Hippo Rose or like the Color Blaze Mini Me, or if you wanted to do a caladiums, those things do really well. It's always a little bit harder to find blooms, but of course you can try this Diamond Snow. And then over here, of course, I have my favorite shade plant, which is the Surefire Rose Begonia. So, and that is a sun and shade plant. All right, so here is my part shade window box. Let me show you guys my part sun to full sun one. Here is part sun to full sun window box. I'm actually super excited about this one. I think it is going to be so pretty with the chartreuse and then the pops of purple. Oh my goodness. I am very, very excited. So see what I mean? It's like I knock it off and then it comes back. And so I just give up. So I'll just wait for everything to grow over. So I will keep you guys updated. I know it doesn't look like much right now, but it will definitely come. And I think it will come very, very quickly, especially this one because it gets the west facing sun. And so that's the hotter, kind of more intense sun, which I think all of these plants are really going to like, specifically the Angelonia. All right. So that is it for today. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope going over the exposure needs based on the horticulture definition helped you guys. It really, really helped me. There is always some wiggle room though. I mean, look at me with using the Diamond Snow in my part shade window box. There's always a little bit of wiggle room. You know, you kind of just got to know the rules to break them. So I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.